Good evening, YouTube. How is everybody? I decided to come on early today. Let me just go ahead and turn this down a little touch. I love this. This is where I want to be right now. Let me show you guys. Do you see this right here? I come from a place where there are waterfalls everywhere. This is so beautiful. I wish I was there right now. Anyway, let me get started. So I did kind of put something together today. That's me making sure I can see my, oh, I forgot I don't even have chats on, but I'm still gonna leave it on anyway. Anyway, because it'll help my engagement, because I do think that I am shadow banned either way. And because of that, I think that people don't quite see my videos when I go live. So it kind of sucks. It's one of the things that, you know, a person has to cope with, because one is being gang stalked. So it is what it is. 1 minute. So tonight, I realized that I haven't done like a good resource video in a while. And what I mean by a resource video is I mean a video where I'm actually giving like hardcore advice for how to get through gang stalking. When I say by hardcore, I should say real life. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm prioritizing one type of advice over another. The spiritual is just as important as the physical, real, day-to-day advice. But today is about actual physical, day-to-day advice of, so let me see what I called it. I called it the 20 commandments, 20 points, 20 commandments to feel normal again. And I put this together because I don't want anyone playing a waiting game with waiting for gang stalking to be over. That is not how you want to live. Let me tell you, you cannot, first of all, dictate when God is going to step in. And B, they're never going to give up unless the person who's paying them decides that they no longer want to I don't know what's wrong with this video. Unless the person paying them decides that they no longer want to pay this person anymore, you're out of luck. You're just gonna, if you, this is revenge for hire. So if you're dealing with people who, a corporation, let's say, who has the money for gang stalking for the rest of your life, then, and they're willing to pay for it, that's what's gonna happen. So let's function under the assumption that no one's letting up. So that means you're not letting up and they're not letting up, okay? So you're gonna have to learn how to live in a little bit of chaos. So this is what this video is about tonight, how I just decided I was going to live with chaos because I couldn't control what was going on. So first things first, look at the whole gang stalking experience from a bird's eye view, meaning you are pulling away from yourself in the day-to-day experience. You're pulling away from the actual things that are happening. This is, I always call it a cycle. I always call it a journey. I call it a pit stop. I call it the valley of the shadow of death. We do not live there, but we have to pass through there to get to the other side. And we are assuming that there are blessings on the other side. And why are we assuming that? Because there's no way you're gonna go through something like this and you're gonna, however it ends, and you're gonna tell me you're gonna go back to being normal. So that is the first thing. While I was going through this, I was like, look, imagine what I am doing now. When I get out of here, Whatever I planned on doing with my life, I'm multiplying that by 100,000. I am not normal. I don't care. If you get through this, you are not normal and you know it. Imagine a day you're no longer being gang stalked. Why would you go look for a normal job? Can you imagine putting that on a resume? Could you imagine writing that down on a piece of paper and describing, like how you would on a resume, your experience? You have to now work for like military intel, you have to work for a security company, you have a story, you have to go do a news interview, you have to write a book. You got to think bigger after this. So that is the first thing that you're thinking to yourself is you're, first of all, I always say you have to make it end. You're not going to sit here and say to yourself, I hope it ends when it ends. This is not the kind of mentality that people break out of tough situations in. You have to look at this like any of the other crazy situations you could have found yourself in. So let's say it was terminal illness. Let's say it was terminal illness. Let's say somebody gagged you and tied you up in the back of a van or in a basement somewhere. Let's say it was I don't know, stage 4 cancer. Let's say it was any other major traumatic life event. You would need to get out of that situation. You would need to put yourself in a situation. Like, I mean, there are people who stay and they die in the basement. Maybe they say to themselves, like, I can't get out, I'm whatever. And there are people who, even if they've been in there for a year, 2 or 3, they're always thinking to themselves, the minute this person lets their guard down, the minute they turn their back, I'm getting out of here. Now, once you start approaching your situation with that mentality of like, the minute I get an opportunity, I'm running out. As soon as you have that mentality, you start planning. You start planning on how to flee. You no longer just exist. So you don't make stupid mistakes anymore. For example, let's say you're in somebody's basement and you're tied up, right? And you're trying to break out. You're going to say to yourself, I'm going to stop fighting this person and I'm going to start cooperating. I'm going to start becoming friendly with them. I'm going to start making them think I'm okay with being here. They don't have to tie my hands. They don't have to tie my feet. You know, I can stay here. I'm not going to run off until I get a chance where they no longer lock me down there. I'm upstairs. I'm sitting on the couch and then I'm going to make a break for it. That is the mentality that you start developing when you start saying to yourself, I'm not staying here anymore. And that is the mentality that you need to have. You're not staying here anymore. So when I first started saying that, well, that was right from the beginning, to be honest with you. I was like, I was never really of the mentality that this is going to be my life. And even though I heard, oh, it lasts years and this and that, I would be outraged. I'd be like, people are crazy. I'm not doing that for this long. I'm breaking free of this. I know I am. I don't care how many disadvantages I have, how many odds are against me. I am used to having odds constantly against me. So that is what it is. I did not care about that at all. So if you are in a traumatic life state, you can look at it in one of 2 ways. The first way is you can succumb to it, and justifiably so. It's a very difficult situation. It's not like you're making excuses. You have something difficult happening. But the other way you can look at it is, I'm going to have a spiritual awakening. I'm going to defy the odds. I'm going to be the person who gets away from this, even though it has, a million people have, succumbed to it. I'm going to be the one that gets out. That's the mentality that I took, and that's the mentality that I think that everybody should have going through it. I think that when you're in a situation where there is no other resource, your first resource is your inner strength. Your first resource is your determination that you're going to make it out, that you're not going to be a statistic, that you're going to be the one that defies the odds. So that being the case, let's look at core goals that you're going to go through. You want to go through, and you got to stay with me here. You have to stay with me here. I'm giving people the advice that, based on all the pieces of advice that I received on my journey, I put all these pieces together, and this is what I came up with for myself. You want to go through a full life glow up as a result of gang stalking. I'm going to repeat it again. You want to go through a full life glow up as a result of being gang stalked. What do I mean by that? I'm going to explain all of that. Your core goals are going to be to look better. So it's on the outside, your physical appearance, feel better, control yourself better, or have more self control, be more informed, live better, and be healed. These are the kind of things that happened for me during gang stalking. So I'm going to give an example for myself of each point. That's 6 points. Looking better, I went through a physical glow up. I started going to the gym and I started making it a priority to show up and like get my body together. So I went through a physical transformation. I started dressing better. I started putting my appearance together. I started doing things that I wasn't doing even before I was being gang stalked. So I went through a glow up physically. I definitely felt better. Obviously, you start looking better, you start working out, you feel better. But I'm talking about just feeling better about myself internally from like an emotional standpoint, because I realized how strong I was. I realized how resilient I was. I realized how disciplined I was, how patient, how intelligent. Not that I didn't know these things about myself before. It's not that I wouldn't have used these words to describe myself before. It's just that now there was no denying it to myself. I couldn't be down on myself because I was like, you're doing a really good job considering all of the crap that you're going through. Be more informed for sure. You look at the world through a whole new lens. You get a better idea of how the world really works, for good and for bad. I mean, it's very depressing seeing how easily people can get your family to betray you, seeing how easily people can get friends to turn against you, communities that have known you your entire life to just watch you fall. But at the same time, you look at things and you're like, wait, like one of the things that I learned, I was like, police are gang stalkers too. I mean, you see this on TV, and please, if there's anybody listening to this and they're like rolling their eyes like, oh my God, this girl didn't know. No, I really didn't know that. I was very naive or very like just ignorant to the fact that the world worked that way. Like I really felt like when you go to the police, they're gonna help you because you're an upstanding citizen and something's happening. And no, does not work that way, the way all of us have realized. But I realized like police can be bribed, judges can be bribed. Like the world is just not the world that I thought it was. And then when you really look at gang stalking, you're taking that 100 times like further, because you're like, listen, the bank does not have to function the way you think it should. The post office doesn't have to, like anything. There can be disruption and what do you call it? Disruption and I what is the word I'm looking for? I forget. Basically, you could bribe anybody. And I needed to be informed of that personally. So I think a lot of the people going through this that I see that I think are genuine people, I think these people are probably shocked by that as well. I don't think these are people that know anything about these kinds of lifestyles, and then you're like, what is going on here? So it is very scary. I definitely live better. And what I mean by that is I have more peace in my life, which is crazy because gang stalking seeks to do the exact opposite. It seeks to take away your peace, but I prioritize myself. I prioritize my peace. I prioritize, I really know what's, not that I didn't before, but this is purposeful now. I know what's important in life. I think after you've been gang stalked, you really know the value of a true friend. You know the value of loyalty. You know how to value, even in relationships, what is most important in a relationship and in a partner to you. You know, you start looking for qualities like loyalty, people who are going to fight for you and remain committed and stand by your side. Like these things become priorities over everything else because the situation that you're in has taught you like this is really important. Like you're just seeing a whole new side to life, essentially. And the last point of being healed, I, through the process of gang stalking, I got rid of old, I don't want to call them grudges because it wasn't like I was sitting there like, oh, you're going to pay one day, but just people that I just was not going to forgive. If gang stalking didn't happen, I had made up my mind that there were people I was going to go to my grave and not forgive. And like, I just really, I didn't think about it ever again. I just knew I would never talk to them again. I healed a lot of those wounds because things came into perspective for me. And still, as I move forward in life right now, like today was an epiphany day. Like things just, questions I had in my mind of like, how could it be? Look, we all have questions. So one of the questions I know that everybody that is being a gang stalked is asking themselves is, how do these people live with themselves? And you're very much wondering how it is possible because you're going through that extent of abuse. You're asking yourself, like, when did the world become this way? What is going on? So, through everything that I was going through, a lot of these questions started being answered for me as I stayed in longer and I observed more things. So, I'm from a city, I consider my city not to be a very big city, even though it thinks it's a very big city, it's not. I don't consider it a big city. I think it's like six degrees of connections. Everybody is 6 degrees of connections away from each other. That's how I see it. News travels fast. And I was able to kind of see how people were responding to the fact that people started really knowing what was going on with me. It wasn't a big secret. It's like it spread. People knew what was going on. And because I wasn't keeping it quiet necessarily, like when I meet people, it's like, well, I don't do it anymore, but when I used to meet people back then, it'd be like, hi, my name is such and such. I'm being gang stalked. And I'd tell them the story everywhere I went. They used to be so pissed. They used to be so pissed because they used to have a lot of work to do because they used to have to run behind me and go clean that mess up because I was telling everybody. And you could see on people's face after they either left my store or whatever that I had definitely told them because I'm not going to keep secrets while you're destroying my life, right? But the point is, I came out of it and I was a more healed version of myself. And I didn't know, it's like, you know, if you carry something around with you long enough, you don't know how much it's weighing you down until you let it go. The most significant thing that I had to heal was the relationship with my mother. I was just gonna hold that grudge forever. Being very honest, I was like, I'm never letting it go. I'm gonna die with this grudge. I don't care. Because I really felt like she failed me. But then when I let it go and it made sense for me, I was like, oh, that makes total sense. Like I see it. I see like I can see how now. And that's the thing with me, and I think with a lot of people is I feel like, and this is just from the state of where I am with things. But from where I'm standing, I really feel like forgiveness for me really lies in understanding. So once I understood the situation with my mother, it was no longer like, you're a horrible human being, you're not a mother. It's like, okay, well, I understand. Still doesn't mean I agree, but you don't have to agree. You just have to be able to like figure it out. So originally, when I was told, come and tell your story, people need to know how you got through something, and I know that I got through because of people like myself who are on YouTube telling their story. I subscribed. I wanted to know. I needed the information. I thought I was coming here to talk to TIs exclusively. I was like Team TI. And by the time I got past telling my story, getting things off my chest, which I needed to, and into giving more concrete advice, I started understanding the world of gang stalking a little bit better. So I started understanding why some people are gang stalking. Why are they doing it? Not everybody wants to do it. I started understanding, like, why are people drug mules? Not everybody actually wants to do that. A lot of people are trapped. A lot of people are scared for their life. So a lot of things came into focus. A lot of things, I started understanding it. And, I don't know if this is how forgiveness feels, but I don't entirely hold a grudge against the people who gang stalk me. It's not, I don't know how to explain that, because at the same time, I definitely feel like they should be getting karma and it should stop by any means necessary. But I don't have the anger and the heavy burden that I'm carrying anymore, asking myself every day, like, how could they do this and blah, blah, blah. It's like, some of these people, well, I was gang stalked to be forced to be a drug mule. So when I look at it now, I feel like it's like they have to be both a drug mule and they have to be a gang stalker. That's how I saw it. It's like people in that lifestyle, they'd pull them in whenever they needed them, and that's what they'd have to do. And so the way that I saw it was just like, I cannot hold it the way that I originally was holding that anger and that bitterness and whatever. It's like, you know what? From what I've seen here, I can only, and I'm not even in this thing, I can only imagine what people who are in it are going through. And I know it's a living nightmare. I know they're being manipulated and controlled in a lot of ways. I've seen it. They've been trying the same thing with me. So I have no choice but to be compassionate. It's just not possible for me to feel the same emotions anymore. And I have to make that clear, because I don't want anyone who is a targeted individual right now to listen to what I'm saying and think, oh my God, like, how could you say that? You blah, blah, blah. Trust me, people have gang stalked me and not wanted to do it. And it's like not one or two, it's like a large number of people wanted no parts of it. A large number of them came in there absolutely annoyed, very annoyed. Some didn't even want to make eye contact. Some just wanted to just walk through the store, turn around and walk out. They didn't, it was like they just did what they had to do. I've had people, when I've locked my front door and I seen them come in after like a genuine customer, like rattle on the door on the verge of tears, asking me to please open the door. It's been insane. I've had people come in the store, look at things to buy. I can see they don't have the money to buy it, and they just leave and they're like, well, next time. And then they come back in hyperventilating, scared, rushing in, begging me, please give them a discount on it, please, so that they can buy it. So, and I have so many times given people discounts, because I'm like, and I mean, a discount is like 10%, 20%. I mean, I'm docking 75, $80 off of something because I can clearly see they don't have it. And they're being forced to buy something. And it's not just me, myself, and one of my daughters is looking out. It's like a car here and a vehicle there watching them to go in and to come out. So it's like you can see that people are in a very stressful situation and they're not doing well. At least in my situation. My situation is I was gang stalked to be forced to be a drug mule. And so this was done by the cartel, and it's very scary. It's a very scary situation for a lot of people. I think if a lot of people knew formally what they were getting into, they would not get into it. That's how I feel, and that's not just how I feel, that's what I know. That's what I know to be true. So it is what it is. But these are the reasons why, and these are the things that I've seen that have made me, it's made me more compassionate. Now, not to say that I understand everything, not to say that I understand everything, but as much as I can understand, I try to be a reasonable, it's not even that I try to be a reasonable person. Like, once you see it for yourself, once you know it, it's like so little you can do about it, about how you feel about it. It's not like people are just dark, evil people that wake up in the morning and they're like, how do I destroy people's lives? Because in the beginning, that's how you feel. You feel like they're dark, evil people who wake up and they have no soul and no God. And then eventually you're like, oh, okay, all right, this makes sense. Because they're not being paid what, you know, the people at the top are being paid for sure. And when you really think about it, you wonder if they're paid at all or if they just have to be a part of it. I've had my own customers gang stalk me and not be able to make eye contact. People that would come in and give me a big hug, girl, I haven't seen you, blah, 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 in so long, blah, 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 now can't make eye contact with me as they're following me at the gas station. They're just looking away and it's like they're embarrassed of themselves. So it's like, you know, things happen. It's a very weird world. And I'm very happy that I had God with me and have God with me to shelter me from this insanity. But I don't want to talk about the dark side of things today. I want to talk about it in a way that will really kind of give insight into the things that I did to have a glow up in the face of being gang stalked. And I know you're going to think that's a tall order, but you got to stick with me. So, 20 things that I did. And I tried to start back from the very beginning of how I got to the person that you see here in front of you today. So, number one, everything is important. So, I could have made this 100 things, to be honest. I could have just kept going, but I tried to pick the things that were most crucial. So you can cherry pick as you want, but everything here is super important. I'm going to try to describe why. So number one, control your breath, control your breathing. I start with this with meditation, a meditation practice that is twice a day in the morning and in the evening. You must control your breath. If your nervous system is under attack all day long for multiple days in a row, that is how you're going to lose your mind. That is a direct path to you losing your mind. Your body is in constant fight or flight mode. You're in constant panic. You must take control of your breath before you do anything else. Before you embark on anything else, whatever else you're trying to do is a waste of your time because the anxiety is going to follow you even if the gang stalking stopped. This is going to turn into a disorder, a panic disorder. You're going to have PTSD. You know, soldiers that come from war and they startle easily. Take control of your breath. So, you're going to notice that you always have anxiety. That is a spiritual attack. That is when people are sending spiritual energies at you or they have put you on their altar in a negative way. They're sending baneful magic at you and things like death spells, like the type of magic that would basically break your life down. It starts with the anxiety that is not connected to reality. It's just anxiety, meaning that no one's chasing you, nothing's happening. If you do not get this under control, the eventual result will be you'll be in the streets and you'll be looking around like this, like you're fighting demons, okay, in public, and nobody else will see what's there, and you're cracking. You're cracking under the pressure. You're going to start seeing things. You're going to start hearing things. Get your breath under control. See, sometimes it's like I realized in some of my last videos that I gave the advice without giving the why. And I realized that the why is most certainly important because when I give the why, you're definitely going to do the meditation properly. The meditation is not negotiable. We don't know how it works. Maybe scientists know how it works. Maybe I'll ask God how it works. But it doesn't matter. It works. It works without you knowing. It's like going to the gym. It works without you knowing. One workout, two workouts, eating healthy, one good meal, two good meals. Before you know it, your pants are too big, your shirt's too big, you're losing weight. Before you know it, you're way smaller than you even recognize. People are telling you that you're super small. So you have to Take it seriously. Do not skip it. They hate when you meditate because they notice how calm you are. The calmness is like a shield, it numbs you down. There's the pressure from the gang stalking hitting your nervous system, and then there's the meditation pushing it out. It pushes the pressure out. Once this nervous system is out of whack, we can start throwing a whole bunch of stuff at it, and it's not going to be able to defend itself. And your nervous system is what? Connected to your brain. So you got to slow it down. You got to breathe. You got to take your time with how you do things. You don't let people rush you. I am of a mindset that I am never late, and when I get there is when I'm supposed to get there. I am always late sometimes because I am meditating. And if I'm in a really good meditation state, I'm going to stay there. And if I have to miss something, then I'm going to miss it. And I think that God is just saving me from something, and that's why I'm not going. But the meditation is that important. If something is super important for me to be there, then I'll get up earlier to meditate. But the meditation is very, very, very important. Very, very, very important. Please meditate. Control the breath. So to put a pin in that, there was another guy, there was a couple who came to my grand opening, this Indian couple. And at first I thought they might have been gang stalkers, but what I realized was one day myself and my daughter went to a grocery store in our city. It's called No Frills. And we were sitting in the parking lot for whatever reason. I don't know what I was doing before I drove off. I remember seeing him in the store and he was just pushing an empty cart. And I thought he was gang stalking me, but I've come to the point that I don't let it affect me. And it's one of the points here, and I'm going to tell you how to do it yourself. So I saw him in there and he had like the red basket, and he put like tomatoes and lettuce and stuff in there, but what he did was he pretended that he was going to put the basket away, and I saw that there was vegetables in there, and he raised it up as he was like coming through the aisle of where like everybody's standing to cash out. So he raised it up, and then he went to the section where there's donation food. And then he started just putting all the donation foods out of the bins into the basket. And he started throwing it into the back of his car with the actual baskets. Like, he didn't bring any bags or anything. He started throwing it in the back. And my daughter and I were sitting there. And then he was going, it was the way he was out of breath completely. He was breathing heavy and he was like this. And he was like swatting things away overhead. And then he got in his car and the way he was driving was not stable. And I sat there and because the whole time I'm looking at my daughter, I'm like, are you seeing this? Because my kids were at the grand opening, so they know who these people are. And I said, are you seeing this? And it's like, I need for there to be a witness at times, because if I say I see things, like, I want people to believe me. And I looked at her, I was like, are you seeing that? He's seeing things. This is what happens when you're going through this alone. So my grand opening was in May 6th, and this happened in November or December. It was close to Christmas time. And then the wife is an influencer and she wasn't posting on social media as much. And then by the time I want to say by like January or February, they posted a picture, their first travel influencer picture, a picture of them in Orlando, Florida. There was a picture of them in Orlando, Florida on vacation. Out of taking food, and they had a little baby as well, taking food and stealing vegetables out of the grocery store, taking food out of the donation bin, to being back, not back, but on a plane. They were not traveling before that. They weren't. This was a family, an Indian family that had a little bit of affluence. They come from a little bit of money. It's not like they are like just regular people. I remember something was off because I went to this show to kind of like, with my store, to kind of sell things, this high-end fashion show. So they had like clothing vendors or whatnot. And when I saw them, I got excited and I waved. And the wife got irritated and grumbled under her breath and rolled her eyes, and they looked disappointed to see me. And I still gave her a hug and I said hi to the baby, but it was like they were tolerating being there. And then now in hindsight, I realized that I brought this infection into their life because it happened after they came around me. Those people basically went to everybody that had come around me and made those people drug mules. Everybody. And so what they do is they attack you spiritually. They attack you with energies, and then they turn you into a drug mule. They attack your finances. They put you in a death spell. They attack your finances, and the way the death spell works is it takes everything from you. I talk about your house falling, and I talk about the fact that your house is not just, how do you call it? Your house is not a physical place that you live in. Your house is everything that is you. Your house is your legacy. Your house is your children. Your house is your spouse. Your house is your business. Your house. So when they say the fall of the house of Usher, they're talking about the complete collapse of Usher's life, not his actual home. Your life is your house. You know, your even your spiritual inheritance, all of it comes together to be your house. So they destroyed these people's lives until these people had no choice but to be drug mules, and that is how it's done. And the reason that I am public enemy number one is because I am here to tell people how it happens. People know how it happens, but once they're already in the cycle, they don't know what to do. And so, excuse me, this is why in this situation that people find themselves in here, it is essential to not walk this path alone. Gang stalkers are not gang stalking you just to upset you, just to frustrate your day, just to intimidate you. There is something spiritual happening to you as well. And the gang stalking is compounding on that and ensuring that there is a compounding effect that makes you feel like you're in a horror movie. That is what it's there for. So what happens to you is, you know, they put you in this death cycle, they bind you to them spiritually. So you can't run, you can't leave. You go to another country, you're gonna have to come back. They're gonna find you. You can't escape it. You gotta break the spiritual binding, because once they bind themselves to you spiritually, they can come into your space energetically. Then they're gonna send energies to your space. You're gonna start seeing dark shadows out of the corner of your eyes in your space. This is why I talk about sage, because you got to get that stuff out of there. And not just once, not just twice, but as a routine, as a routine. So I have other videos on my page that talk about, you know, routines that you're going to put in place that is going to protect you from the dark stuff that's going on around you. So you got to get the breath under control. You got to be meditating and you got to be praying, not one or the other, both. And if you're tired in the evenings, you got to find a way to make it a priority. Perhaps you're going to do it before you eat, before you shower, before you sit down, whatever you got to do. Because if you know you're going to like pass out, then maybe you got to adjust your work schedule, whatever you got to do. But this is important. In the very beginning, if I fell off of a meditation, God would be like very stern about it. Like looking at me like, hello. So it is important and it must be done. The second thing, self-care. Self-care is a commandment. It's not a, well, I'll do it if I can. It is mandatory. Make your bed, comb your hair, brush your teeth, do your laundry, go for a walk. These things contribute to peace of mind. Having time to do the laundry, fold the laundry, and put the laundry away. Making the bed, slowing down the time that all of a sudden it feels sped up. Why does the time feel sped up? Because your money is being drained. And because your money is being affected, you feel like you need every waking second to go out and work. They keep people in this cycle, in this stage. What I did, I slowed down the time for myself. Because while I was in that loop, the time was sped up. It felt sped up. I would wake up in the morning and I'd play this kind of music. Well, actually, the music would have been playing all night long anyway. So this kind of music would be playing. And so listen to it. It's slow and it's relaxing. I do my meditation. I make myself a cup of tea and I make the bed. Then I take my time to take a shower and to put my clothes together, and then I go to work. I'm no longer getting up, rushing to work. My brain's going 10 miles an hour. How am I going to pay for this? How am I going to pay for that? I had a big mortgage. I had more than one mortgage. I had a tenant move out. I had like, oh, so it's like brain was a lot of bills, a lot of responsibilities, and I'm under attack and I'm being gang stalked and I'm losing customers. All kinds of things are happening. But you slow your day down. The calming music. You know what's crazy? I was gang stalked. I had all this chaos come at me. I wasn't fighting with my kids. I was very calm. You slow it down. You slow it down. Slow it all the way down. You meditate. You clean your space. This right here will make you feel like you're just getting really mellow. I mean, I'm very used to it now, but I remember in the beginning, every time I smelled sage, I was like, okay, let me relax. Because you associate sage with calming yourself down. You do your meditation, you get dressed, you stop for a coffee in the morning if you need one, or stop for a cup of tea, whatever you're gonna do, or make one at home, whatever the case is. And then all of a sudden an idea pops in your head. Go over there. Don't buy materials from over here. Buy stock from over there. Don't do this, do that. Cancel that, do this. Because once you slow down, you give your brain time to catch up with what's going on. You give yourself time to. So I had another live where I was talking about whenever you get new information, pausing and giving yourself a rest allows your mind to integrate the information that you've received. So it allows that information to soak into your brain. So now you actually really learn it. So when you go back to it a second time after the break, you're not fatigued. You go back, magically you just know how to do it. And I realized that with me picking up new skills, like the first time I picked something up, if I was like learning it from a book or a video, I'd learn it. But then if I gave it up for 6 months and I came back, I'd be extremely good at it out of nowhere. And I had no practice. The rest period matters. Calm matters. You're not just a body, you're a spirit as well. And so your spirit needs time. It's not just you reading it, it's not just you learning it, your spirit's gleaning that information, sucking up that information as well. So you got to take your time with it. It makes a huge difference when you come home to a bed that's made. And it doesn't matter what the circumstances. You can put a little, I'm a woman. I'm going to put a little vase of flowers. I'm going to take my time and maybe, pin a picture to the wall and do those things. When you come home and you're tired or you've had a day and you see like a place that looks like a home and everything's put away nicely, you feel better. When this started happening to me, I just moved into a new house and I didn't unpack for 6 months. And then, or finish unpacking. Wherever I was unpacking, it didn't get done. It didn't get completed. It took me a while to get a hold of myself. And then when I got 3 months, 6 months, I can't even remember. But then when I started to do so, um, when I started to do so, I realized I was like, this bag has been in the same position for months. And that's when I realized what they were doing to my life. And I made a decision that I was not going to allow that. I unpacked my house, the rest of my house. I put my stuff away. I put ornaments away. I started taking care of things, sitting with bills, reading them, calling the company, making sure things were verified. Nothing was getting past me. I was noticing things. I was reporting things. I was taking my time. because it's the same amount of time I'm going to spend at work anyway. If I have designated that I'm going to be at work for 7 hours a day or 10 hours a day, it was closer to 10, 12 actually. I'm going to be there 12 hours anyway. What am I going to rush myself for? I started making it a priority to try to trust employees a little bit more. I started making it a priority to not just trust employees and have them at the store, but trusting my kids with a little bit more responsibility, and just trying my best to give myself time, because I'm the captain of this ship. And if the captain goes down, the whole ship goes down. So I need to prioritize self-care. So everything came full circle. Sundays were slower days for me. I'm gonna go on a drive with my kids. I'm gonna do things. I have to slow it down. I have to start cooking at home. I have to start. And then I just realized, like, so for me, I went from there's this girl on TikTok called Nira Smith, and people talk about her because she makes everything from scratch. Like if she's making pasta, she's gonna make the pasta from scratch. If she's having a dessert, she'll make the cake from scratch. So it's like, I went from being that to not cooking at all. And I started realizing how my life was taken away from me. So it was like, no, I'm gonna start cooking at home. I'm gonna start sitting down with myself. They can't take, these are things that people cannot take from you. But what happens when you do all those things is you start infusing real life back into your world. You go from living like, I was starting to live like it was a big, beautiful house that I'm paying a lot of money for. It's like I'm living here like I'm homeless. Like things are just, I'm not putting things away. Like I was like, absolutely not. I'm gonna enjoy my life. I'm gonna enjoy what I have. I work hard, and I'm not gonna let anyone take it from me. So what happens is, it's like a spiritual law that whatever happens inside here and up here happens in your reality. So when you decide that you're gonna slow down, time slows down around you. The time that felt sped up slows down. It agrees with you that it should slow down because it sees that you like when it slows down. And that's how the universe works. The universe responds to whatever you like, whatever gives you pleasure, because it wants to feel pleasure through you. You have the emotions, you're the conduit, you're the magnet. Oh, not the well, yes, you're the magnet, but a conduit is this piece that usually it's like metal, and it's what allows the electricity to pass through it. And that's what you are. You're the conduit. It's feeling happiness through you. Your spirit, your soul, your ancestors, your spirit guides are feeling what you feel. So when you feel under pressure, they feel under pressure. Nobody enjoys the pressure. So when you are happy, they are happy. If you don't have a body and you want to be in a human body for whatever reason, you want to be in a happy person. Just like you're a person, you want to date happy people. You want to have happy children. You want a happy partner. You want happy coworkers because they're easier to be around. It's the same thing. So once you decide that you're making your bed, you're sending a signal not just to your brain, not just to your body, but you're sending a signal upstairs that my life is peaceful and normal. I'm going to go for a walk this afternoon. I'm going to go for a run. And so this is the beginning of taking your life back. The reason that these are number one and number two is because this was the beginning of me turning things around for myself. When the odds are against you, you start with your mind and your spirit and your soul. If you're sitting here and you're saying to yourself, I want to be Bill Gates one day, you're not going to be Bill Gates tomorrow. You're going to be Bill Gates. How does it start? With your mind saying that I want to do it, and with your imagination playing out, how would it be? Not just how would it be, but how would I get there? This is what I want. Playing with the thought over and over and over again until this thought becomes so natural to you. It is so natural that you're gonna have to implement it. You've been fantasizing about this way too much. You can almost feel it, taste it, and touch it. So it is going to be impossible for you to live not having it. It's the same thing. You sit there and you're like, I'm not going to be in this gang stalking BS for too long. They better count their days with me, because when I'm gone, I'm gone. And that's what I did. And I started making my bed. I started doing all of this stuff. I started opening the umbrella on the patio with my gang stalking neighbor next door who's hacking me, always outside when I'm outside, and didn't care. Sit out there, enjoy the sun, barbecue, do all of these things. You think they were happy? They would have construction trucks drive by with the phone like this out of the truck, pretending, taking a video, who knows, who cares, to make me feel uncomfortable with barbecuing. I was still gonna do it. Still gonna do it. It's expensive barbecue and I love that barbecue, period. I'm still gonna do it. It's expensive house. Everything here I work hard for. I'm still gonna do it. And that's how you have to look at it. Your life is more valuable than anything, and you just simply cannot allow people to take it away. You must enjoy it in a storm. You must enjoy it at all times. At all times. It starts with a decision that turns into a habit, that turns into a way of life. So number 2 is very important. Number 3, little luxuries. Little luxuries can be anything. It can be, it's sunny, today is Sunday, I don't have work, I'm gonna go for a walk, and at the end I'm gonna buy ice cream. That does something to your brain. Even though a luxury is not necessarily something expensive, it is something that makes you feel free. That's it. Something that makes you feel free. Little luxuries. You must fill your world with little luxuries at this time. There is only so much people can do. Now tell me, what can someone do to block you from buying an ice cream on Sunday? Nothing. There's nothing they can do. The most they can do is sit there. The most they can do is watch you. They can't do anything. You must give yourself little luxuries. Another little luxury. Let me go get my hair cut instead of doing it myself. Let me go get my hair curled instead of me doing it myself. I had a show to go to. I'm going to go sit down and get my makeup done. I'm going to go get my hair done. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Please take care of your finances, because people are trying to knock money out of your hands, but it doesn't always have to be money. It can just be something that you're affording yourself. So I started doing things for myself. Like, I always had trouble, like, with my work schedule, getting my feet done, getting my nails done and whatever. I'd take my time and I'd go do those things. Even if I was at work and I'd say I'm going to take an hour off when somebody else comes to the store, and I'm going to go. But just giving yourself little luxury might be just wearing something that's nice in your closet that you haven't worn in a while. You don't have anywhere to go, but you just feel like wearing it today because it's Saturday, and you're going to wear it to go buy groceries. Little luxuries are important. Now, what happens is the gang stalkers are going to notice that you're dressing a little bit better, you're taking care of yourself, you're looking a little bit nicer, you're doing things, you're slowing time down, you're not in a rush, you're not panicked, and they're going to get panicked. Let me explain to you how the death spells work, or the sacrifice spells. There's death spells, there's sacrifice spells. Some of them sound the same, some of them sounds different. But anyways, it's like a seesaw spell. So imagine it's like a seesaw. Anybody knows what a seesaw is? One person sits here. If this side goes down, the other side goes up, on and on. If you're on one of these things and your life goes down, whatever you lose, they gain on this side. And it's the same. So if you're on one of these things, they've put you in like one of these sacrifice things. When your anxiety goes down, their anxiety goes up. When time for you slows down, time for them speeds up. When you are happy, so your happiness goes up, their happiness goes down. When your peace goes up, their peace goes down. And to very logically explain it in another way, so essentially you're going to look at it this way. If I'm being paid to destroy your life and you start glowing up, it means that not only am I not destroying your life, but your life is getting better. Am I making your life better? You will start noticing that their life gets worse. I say all this to say because one of the number one priorities when I was going through all of this was everybody was insistent on me improving my life. Please breathe better. Please take your time. Please take care of yourself. And at first I'd be upset, like, how can you tell me to take care of myself? Like, look what's going on. But when I started taking care of myself, I started feeling better and it became a habit. Do or die, you must. Give yourself little luxuries. Little luxuries mentally attract wealth and prosperity. People think, let me tell you, if I get up and I dress head to toe in expensive things and I go out there and I go somewhere, I'm more likely to receive something for free than someone who looks homeless. Even though I look like the one who can afford it, but it's a magnet. So when you're calm and you give yourself things, you're tricking your mind that everything is okay. And you're telling your mind, like, this is how I'm supposed to live. I'm supposed to be relaxed and happy and having a glass of wine on my patio after work and at peace. And that's that on that. So you give yourself little luxuries always. And it could be anything. And you got to look at it like this way. If you don't make it tomorrow, would you want to deny yourself the ice cream cone today? No. Life is short. You're noticing that. So now you see the value of all of these things, these little luxuries. So you have to do it. Do nice things for yourself. Number 4, 2 days a week, you need to block access from gang stalkers from your life. If you are not, okay, so if you're new to my page, my channel, go to the playlist called Informational Resources or Tools for Healing, one of the two. I have videos where I talk about how to clean your home energetically and stuff like that, because once you're home, they're going to attack you energetically. So you got to first clean your home energetically. Excuse me, you got to have the right crystals in place. You have to have the right things going on, protecting your home in whatever way you can. You have to have those things in place. And when those things are put in place, then you can be in the home and be comfortable. But you need at least a minimum, I would say a minimum 1, but 1 is not enough because you have 7 days a week. If they used to access you 7 days and now they can only access you 6, then they're still accessing you a lot. If they can access you 5 days a week, people have to work. If they access you 5 days a week and they cannot access you for 2 days, hopefully 2 days in a row, those are 2 days of rejuvenation. And so then what it looks like is it looks like you have a 5-day work week where you hate going to work 5 days a week. I mean, like most of the world. And then you have your 2-day weekend and then you go back. At least one of those days, I advise not to leave the house. You sleep in, you have a good day, you relax, you do whatever it is that you would do if it's just sitting on the computer or your phone and watching videos. But these are 2 days that you do not want to use both these days to think about gang stalking. At least one of those days, no gang stalking videos whatsoever, unless they are uplifting and positive. So that day for me used to be Sundays. And Sundays were the days where I closed my store on Sundays. As a matter of fact, I was like, we're not open Sundays anymore. And then you had everybody coming and advocating, no, 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 we want you open on Sundays. No one's coming to the store, but they want me open on Sundays. I was like, I don't care. No business on Sundays. And then I had it where I was only working, I think like 5 days a week or 3 or 4 days a week or something like that. And I was closing earlier and whatever. And they're like, oh, the times don't work for us and whatever. Who cares? Those are gang stalkers. And like I said, they want you on that hard working cycle so you do not have time to combat the other chaos that they're putting in your life. You're stressed out. You got to slow time down. It's the same thing. They're going to still be fighting your money either way. So what I did was I had 2 days, but Sunday was my day. So I would plan around Sunday. I did the groceries, everything on Saturday, and I'd make a nice meal starting early Sunday morning, like early 10 o'clock, not early, it's kind of late, but early for a day that you're sleeping in. And then I'd have like certain people that or certain videos that I would listen to on a Sunday because I know it wouldn't be negative. I know it wouldn't be like crying, oh my God, gang stalking sucks, but it was motivational and uplifting. It was like, you're gonna get through this, don't worry, on and on and on. And it was upbeat. So Sunday was the day for that. Sunday was my day. And so Sunday always was like a positive day for me. And then I started work on Monday and I was refreshed. I was refreshed to start the week off again. So a minimum of 2 days, it can be any day. It does not have to be weekend days. You can decide and you can move it around. I suggest you move it around because if they know that, oh, Saturday and Sunday you're home, those are the days they're going to prioritize to bother you at home. So you want to move it around where they don't really know, where they're out there waiting with all the cars to follow you, and that's the day you don't show up. So you can move it around, do what's best for you. Every time you take advice with them, you got to keep shifting the advice until you find the way it's going to work in your life because they like to adapt to changes as well. No gang stalking, no access to you, rejuvenate your body, get your mind a bit of peace because what happens every time you notice a car, every time you notice a person, your heart spikes. Your heart rate spikes, your anxiety goes up. So you're giving yourself 2 days where that is not happening to you. 2 days where your nervous system, like, I mean, that meditation can really soak in. And for those days, do an hour for the meditation, each one. Like, really give yourself a lot of peace and a lot of self-care in those 2 days. Which leads me to, oh, and on the 2 days that you're off, turn the phone off. Like, or put it on do not disturb or airplane, whatever you got to do. Don't take calls, don't take text. I turn my phones off completely on the weekend. Like, other than me coming online, I don't care. I don't care what's going on. It's not a business call because it's the weekends. I don't care. No access. Block all access to yourself. Which leads me to my next point, which is no eye contact with them in public. This is how you train your mind to walk through the gang stalking. Everybody is concerned about the actual act of gang stalking where they're following you, and that is not what you're supposed to be afraid of. That is the least of all the concerns. That is actually the smallest one, but that is the one that people prioritize the most. That is not going to do you damage. I can still be followed everywhere. It's not going to affect me. It cannot impact my money. It cannot impact my mind. It cannot impact my living situation. It cannot impact my soul. Nothing. It's just people being annoying. That's all it is. But the reality is that when you're new to it, it's a lot. It's gonna scare you. So I stopped making eye contact with these people. These people, think about it like a football match where people are like trying to get in your face and like psych you out and like distract you and intimidate you. So this is what you do. You're walking down the street and you notice somebody's a gang stalker and they're being weird. Look straight. Don't look at them. Do not make eye contact. You got to master this. It may take you a couple weeks. It's not going to take you a couple days. It's going to take you a couple weeks, a couple months to master it. Once you master it, your whole life is going to change. Doesn't matter what these people do. I will walk right up to gang stalkers, pick up the thing I have to pick up, and go about my day. Let me tell you, when you ignore people, they feel stupid, and you can see it on their face that they're embarrassed because it didn't work. If it worked, they would have laughed. But now that it didn't work, it's like you gotta fake it. You gotta fake like they're a normal person. I used to talk to them. I used to say good morning to them. I went through a couple different phases of how do I make this a part of my normal life, my normal scenery, because it won't stop. So there's a car sitting outside of my house. I get up, I pull out of the driveway, I nod at them, and I drive off. It doesn't matter what reaction they have. It doesn't matter. I'm in my mind, I told myself this is just somebody waiting for their cousin. That's it. And I drive off. Why? Because I cannot report a car for sitting outside of my house. I can't do anything about it, and I technically can't prove it. So I'm going to pretend that it is what people say it is, because I was so tired of hearing it. I'm going to pretend that it is what people are saying. It's just some guy out there. He's probably waiting. Okay, perfect. He's just some guy out there. That's it. That's it. Eventually, when you master this, you don't see the bulk of them. You're training yourself to not notice them. Now, the beauty of this is they have only so much. They have this much window of how they can affect you. They only have this much because they can't come up to you and like punch you in the face. So they have to do things within a certain like limit. They can't go out of their way. So it's like they know that other people, it's in public. They can't just come in front of you and be like this. So they have to do it in your peripheral vision. So you get to just walk by it and pretend it didn't work. And then they get tired. And then it's just, it stops working. They get tired. They can't intimidate you anymore. So this is the point that you want to get to with no eye contact in public with gang stalkers. Do not make eye contact with these people. Do not have reactions. And then eventually you're going to control your heart rate not spiking. So this is a process. First, no eye contact. Then you don't want to notice them, and then you don't want your heart rate to spike every time. They feel energetically when your heart rate spikes. It has taken me a long time to get here, but it is very, very possible. You must retrain your mind to adapt to the circumstances that it's in. So if you got dropped off in a jungle and there are dangerous animals there, at some point you're going to have to get used to the fact that you're in a jungle and there's dangerous animals here, and you got to make a home for yourself. So that's what that is. Number 6, trolling, no response. Counterintuitive. If anybody follows me, you'll notice I do not respond to comments, and I do not respond. I had to turn up my chat off, but I don't respond to chats. When people put something awful in the chat, I just block it and I move on. No responding. You're giving them your energy when you respond, and they want to deplete your energy. As you give them energy, they're siphoning it. It weakens you. It weakens you. No responding. There are people who cannot get off of their bed right now because they've given me so much energy. There are people who are weak from this situation because of all of the things that they've done. No energy, no response. So in the beginning, there was one time it was like no response, and I didn't respond. And one time I responded and was like, it was a very strong reaction, like no responding to them. Do not respond. Do not respond. Do not respond. Don't argue with people. Don't respond. Change everything. If you are doing that, stop immediately. It is a big thing. Do not respond to anything. No trolling, no reaction. You're going to still have an internal reaction. You're going to work on that every day. Every time you have a reaction, you calm it down. No response. They want to tie you into this loop of fighting. Control your heart, which is something that I've already mentioned. The anxiety, when you have that jolt and you have an anxious response, that's when it's almost like you weaken yourself energetically and spiritually, and that's when they can send an attack in. When you're calm, the attacks don't work. So it is very essential. It is very, very, very essential to have no emotional response, no anxiety whatsoever. And it takes time to get there, and you work on getting there day by day. This one I call it do the forbidden more. And the forbidden is anything that you notice that they're trying to stop you from doing. So for me, I'll tell you what the forbidden is. The forbidden is me speaking up. The forbidden is me working. And the forbidden is me meditating. Now, there's more things that they don't want me to do, that they don't like when I don't do. And these are the things that I realize even though I may not understand. Like, for example, in the beginning, I was like, why are they so mad for me praying? That's not affecting them or anything like that. Because I know that they didn't want me to be in contact with my ex. So I'm like, if I'm not in contact with my ex, why do they care about me praying or meditating? And I realized the prayer was blocking the attacks. So I said to myself, okay, I gotta pray more. So my prayers went longer, my meditations went longer, all of the above. So you have to make sure that you always put yourself in a situation where you are doing the exact things that they don't want you to do more, harder. It is an act of rebellion, but also it is the thing that they fear the most. When you start taking care of yourself, they're going to try to do things to affect you not taking care of yourself. For example, when I went to the gym, I would be spiritually attacked and the workout was doubly harder. And I could feel it energetically, like the workout was so hard. And then I just realized to myself, then that just means, you know, I'm gonna look twice as good because I'm gonna keep working out, I'm gonna keep going. And I would notice that the people that were gang stalking me at the gym were looking at how I would be performing that day that I was getting spiritually attacked. I would look up and they'd all be looking at me. That gym would have been filled with gang stalkers after a while. As soon as I started going to the gym, it's like a whole bunch of people came. And there's this one Dominican girl. I know God's gonna take care of her. That girl has approached me too many times, come to different stores I've had, just shown up if I went to the doctor. She's at the doctor's office, like all kinds of stuff. She's like everywhere. Doesn't care to show her face multiple times. She came to the gym, and they used to try to station me in the gym where it's like I could be in the middle of people and I just wanted to be in the corner by myself. I came here for a workout. They want to socialize because they want access to me so that they can love bomb, so that they can get close. And she's coming up trying to be friends. And I was like, you need to get the hell out of my face. So, you know, you got to make sure that whatever it is that these people do not want you doing, and one of them for sure will be praying and or meditating, and it's definitely going to be working, that you do that even more. You have to, in saying that, you have to master distractions. You're not going to move forward in your future if you don't know how to not be distracted. These people are going to distract you with everything that you do. As soon as you are doing something correct, they're going to have a panic attack, and here's going to be a distraction. So for me, I don't get distracted by nothing. I don't care what is going on. Like, for example, one of the things that people would come in these chats whenever I come live to do would be, as soon as I start a live, they would come in the live just to like distract people from what I'm saying in the live. Just to distract people from what I'm saying while I'm on live. And so it's like, if I have a message to give, I'm looking at a whole bunch of comments, and it's not just me, they do it to everybody. They do this crap to everybody. So you have to make sure that whatever it is you're doing, you stay focused on the task at hand, you continue and you push through. That is that on that. And that's all that can be done. Master the distractions, it's huge. These were lessons that I was literally like, it's like God sat there and literally took her time to teach me these things, and took her time to go out of her way to show me, like, these are things that are important for you to do. So you got to make sure that you master you know, the things that I'm talking about. And, you know, obviously I think I need to continue repeating them so that people, it can really soak in, so people can really kind of piece it together. Number 10, when you are outside, talk to strangers. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Not everybody's gang stalking you. There are very specific gang stalkers. When you go to the cash register, this is going to be your positive social interaction. You can only interact with a person like that once. So if, let's say, it is your local grocery store, you can only interact with that same person once, or else in my case, the second time I see them, they would start love bombing because they were approached to bribe. They were approached with a bribe. So the next time I see them, I can't look at them, I can't say hi. But the first time, I can have a lovely day, a lovely conversation. It could be nice. And this is how you get a little bit of that. Well, it's a lot. It's a lot of social interaction. But whenever you go somewhere for the first time, now, if you talk to people and they're weird, pull yourself away immediately. They're weird. But if you talk to people and you have to, it gives you a gentle reminder that the entire world is not gang stalkers. So when you go somewhere new for the first time, you can still say, you know, and I'm not talking about the people walking on the streets, because that can easily be gang stalkers. I'm talking about like and not somewhere you made an appointment where they know you're going, obviously. I'm talking about completely random people. You can just say hi, how's your day, etc., etc., and it'll give you a little bit of that boost socially. You can have little conversations with people. I used to have like hour-long conversations with people that I just met about random things. They're on their job, I have a little bit of time, I'm keeping them company, but it gives me a nice little boost. It's a nice, like, it gives me some social interaction outside of my family. And then I know the next time I come there, if I come there again, it's not gonna work. There was one girl who, she taught me about the egg cleanses. The same egg cleanse that I taught, she's the one who taught me. They got rid of her from that job. They noticed that the work they did broke because after talking to her, they must have made somebody ask her what she told me, and then after that, never saw that girl again. I've been going there for the longest trying to, I've never caught her there. So talk to people. Don't be afraid to tell people that you're being gang stalked. They're like, oh, what is that? Tell them. Create witnesses everywhere. Tell them this is what it is. This is how it works. Yes, you know, it's weird. Really? Why is that? See that guy right there? Do you see him? They're like, yeah, he is kind of weird. He's been hanging out there for no reason. Exactly. That's what it looks like. It happens all the time. You could talk to, you got to get out there. You can't lock yourself in a cage. You can't be like not existing in the world. You got to take your life back. You got to take your life back. You have to do better for yourself, or else you're gonna feel like you haven't spoken to a human being in, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have spoken to another human being in 3 years. Like, can you imagine that? So no, not possible. Really important one. I'm gonna put this higher up on the list, but I wanted to work my way down with everything to explain how you get here. But number 11 is conquer fear, and it is huge. Now, think about me as a girl realizing that this is a cartel that is doing this kind of crazy stuff in my life. Think about how I felt. You cannot tell me about fear. I felt like they were gang stalking me like a man. They were not gang stalking me like, oh, it's a girl, we're gonna go easy on her. Like, they were aggressive, merciless, heartless. I had to take my fear away from the situation. I had to pull myself back because fear was not helping me. And constantly, it was like this constant communication from the universe, like, they wouldn't hurt you, they're cowards. These are not criminals and they're not killers, they're greedy people taking money. And one thing that helped me was years before, this guy told me that he was following this lady, this older, like Arabian or whatever lady, and her kids. And I said, how could you do that? He's like, well, we're not really going to do anything. Her husband owes money and we're just making sure that she doesn't leave the country or she doesn't run off. And I was like, what? And that's what I think they told people. I think that's what they tell everybody when they gang stalk you, is that you owe them money and you're not giving the money back, and they want to just make sure. So people think that they're just helping this person, but really they're gang stalking you to abuse you. The reason is wrong. And that's why they didn't like me speaking out. And I spoke out on my social media because basically I said, like, I don't know this person. I don't owe anybody anything. I don't know anything that's going on here. Like, this is ridiculous. So, one, it's important to speak out because it will save your damn life at the time that you feel comfortable to do so. Because for me, I started speaking out early, and it's like God gave me strong indication it's too early. Don't do it. It's just you talking about all the things that's happening to you is making it look like they're doing their job. Do not do it. Just keep going. And I had to learn all of these things. I had to learn all of these lessons. And here I am giving everybody, you know, all the tips that I need. But the conquering of the fear is a mental thing. Danger is real, fear is optional. Danger is real and can be assessed better when you're not fearful. When you're not fearful, you can sit down and say, if they wanted to stab me, they could have done it. If they enter this house when I'm not here, then they could do it when I'm asleep. What's stopping them? That's not what they do. That's not what it's for. They're not doing it because they need you alive. So the fear is optional. I was like, the way I talk to and about John Ferrer right now on the internet, I've been doing that for month 3 of being gang stalked. I've been disrespecting that man the whole time. And in the beginning, it's like every time I disrespected him, he would gang stalk me harder. And I knew it was coming and I didn't care because that's kind of the type of person that I am anyway. I knew it was coming. And it was like I would mock him, I'd make him feel small, I'd talk about his weight, I'd talk about all kinds of things. I would just poke him, poke him, poke him, poke him, poke him all the time. And the point was letting him know that I wasn't afraid of him, regardless of what he was doing. Because it's one thing to bully somebody, and it's another thing when you're trying to bully them, but they're not afraid of you. So you might have more people, you might have whatever, and it used to piss him off because it was like, of all the people, it's this girl that's not afraid of me. They're grown men that are afraid of him. All these other people are afraid of him, and I'm not afraid of him. And that was a problem. And it got so bad that he didn't want people to know that I wasn't afraid of him. And it got so bad that there are times where he would project his energy to me and he'd be like, give me control. Like he'd be begging for the control because it's like, I'm not giving control of my life. And I'm not afraid of you at all. I don't care what you do. I know you're not getting away with it. I'm going to make sure that you don't get away with it. So the first time that I went on camera, and this was random. It was like one day I woke up and it was like, Spirit was like, we're going to go on live today. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, we're going to dress differently, you know. And I wore something different. And I think it's the first time that Brazil saw that I wasn't chubby anymore, that I was taking care of myself, and that I was happy. That day I was so happy. I don't know what it was. I was just so happy. And it was myself and my kids, and we were playing music in the store, and that was the day customers came in and they were trying on clothes, and like people were coming around, and I'm sure they were like, what? You said you were gang stalking this girl? This girl's on here laughing. She has people around her coming to see her. She, like, what is going on? It looked bad. And then from that day was me just always coming online, always coming on live, taking pictures of more pictures of myself, etc. And they were like, she does not look like she's been gang stalked. So what is going on? And I knew that that was bad for business. That wasn't just bad for that client. That was bad for all of them, because you spent a lot of time and money on this case. And this is a girl who's by herself. This is the power of not being afraid. And when God says not to be afraid, that is the best person to not be afraid, because nothing is going to work. Entities are not going to come into, if they come in, it's because you got to learn how to deal with it. It is because you need that lesson. But as far as them touching you, one time he put his hands on me during meditation, like energetically. They made him pay for that. They're not allowed to put their hands on you. That is the rule. Spiritually, they know how it works. I've had so many dreams prior to being gang stalked. They're aggressive, they're intimidating, these energies, but you can tell that they're not allowed to touch you. They never touch you. You got to walk like that. These are literal, like when they couldn't find people anymore, they started like, it was like literal, like, I don't want to call people crackheads, but like drug addicts that they had, like visible drug addicts that couldn't even see straight, walk straight, that they would try to make go stand around the mall and do stuff. Like it was, they were scrambling, they were getting whoever they could get. It's like, what is a drug addict gonna, like, These people, they're not hiring killers. Killers are not coming to gang stalk you in public. That is not how they're built. That is not the way it works. So you got to put the fear away. And I got to keep repeating it. You got to put the fear away. It is one of the number one things that you got to do. For me, putting the fear away, I faked it in the beginning. I talked all that crap when I was at home, and when I got outside, I was still a little scared. I'm not gonna lie. I was still nervous. I was still jumpy. And then it got to the point where it was like I wasn't jumpy anymore. Now, you kidding me? So you got, and then when they couldn't explain why I wasn't afraid, why I wasn't falling sick, why things weren't happening, they told everybody that I was a witch. So now people were afraid of me. Oh, she's a witch. That's why it's not happening. My life is falling apart. He told people that I put a curse on him, on his life. It's karma. He said that I put a curse on his life, and that's why this is happening. Little do people know this man's a witch doctor. So, put the fear away. That's why I spend so much time on this. 12, work out. Go to the gym, work out in your house, lift a bit of weights, do something. It sends signals to your body. A lot of what you're going to do to get out of this is tricking yourself, and it's lying to yourself, it's deceiving yourself, it's making yourself think something else until you believe it. You are not going to believe it first. You're going to believe, you might be the last one to believe. Your body's calm, but your mind's like, I don't know, we're being gang stalked right now. Your heart, your body, everything is calm, but your brain's like, I'm being gang stalked. You gotta trick it. Working out is a way of telling the world that you're taking care of yourself. It's telling yourself that you feel good. Get back to doing the things that you used to do before. And if you're a person who never used to work out, now's a good time, because they're sending you health. They're sending spell work to you to affect your health. And spell work enters when it has a little crevice to enter. If somebody sends spell work for you to catch a STD, but you're not sleeping with anyone, the most that will happen is you'll feel symptoms of an STD that you don't have, but you sage, you clean, you crystal, you spiritual bath, it's gone. It's not a real STD. But if you sleep with people, you're going to get, that's how the spell work works. You're going to meet that one person that has something crazy. No, I've talked about being celibate during this time because they're sending everything that they can. So work out, take care of your body. That's what I did. I was eating healthy, I was dieting, I was working out, and I lost way too much weight. I didn't even notice. But that's how disciplined I was about it. So take that seriously. Accept the situation for what it is and make it part of your environment. Invite it. You can't fight it, so sit and have tea with it. Face your fears. Just look at it and accept it. You're hacked, you're being followed, and people are trying to invent ways to destroy your life. This is a part of my scenery, and I have accepted it. I am hacked. People are watching my stuff. I get ads for baby diapers. I get ads for domestic violence, divorce lawyers, things that have nothing to do with me. I get all their dirty secrets because they refuse to leave the device. And God, is their life falling apart? Because when I see these ads, I'm like, domestic violence, a shelter? That's terrible. So accept it. It is what it is. It's going on. What can you do? Number 14, and I wanted to make it the last one, but it was on here, pray. It is, if you don't do anything else, you got to pray. Prayer is your version of spell work. You do not need to learn how to do spell work. You just need to pray. Praying is like asking the master magician to work things out on your behalf. What that does is that puts the witch doctor against the master magician and no longer you. So you don't need to hire anybody to send spell work back and forth. You don't need to do any of that. You pray. If they are praying on you 3 times a day, then you got to pray 4 times a day. When people do spell work, they have to still, what we call, pray, chant, use their voice, invoke things. That's what prayer is. You gotta pray. And not just one of those boring, like, oh my God, Lord, please. No, you're invoking a spirit. You gotta talk to the spirit. You're the coach. You know what you are? If a whole bunch of spirits are going to war, back in the day, they always brought someone who would beat a drum. The person who beats the drums. They have different sort of drums. So they have the drums they beat where they're preparing soldiers to get ready. We have to fight again. They have the drums where it's like we're going to retreat. They have the drums where they're on the ship and they're beating it and they're chanting and they're motivating themselves to get on there. So by the time they get off the ship, these guys are running in. You're the drummer boy. When you pray, you are hyping the spirit up. You're giving it energy. There's different kinds of prayers. So now that I'm into it, let me talk about it. Let's talk about different kinds of prayers. So there's prayers that you pray because one of my favorite prayers I've ever heard was Psalms 31. And Psalms are written by King David. And the Psalm said, "What use is my bones in the ground? Who will worship you?" I thought, this is diabolical. It's genius. Can you think about that? Think about saying to an energy like, they're trying to kill me. What use am I dead? Who's gonna pray to you if I'm dead? You gotta keep me alive. That is a beautiful prayer. Now, that type of prayer I would classify as like supplementation, which is basically like you're coming here and not exactly begging, but you're pleading a case like a lawyer. You're saying, hey, this is what's happening right now. This is what these people want to do to me. We cannot let this happen for reasons A, B, C, and D. You said that I was going to do this. How am I going to do it? You said that I was, and as a matter of fact, if you let it not happen, then I'm going to do this. I'm going to make sure I do that. This is going to benefit you in this way. It's like a supplementation. Then you have prayers that are like spiritual warrior prayers. Like, you know, these people are beating down on you. These kind of prayers are the kind of prayers that I grew up watching people pray. So these are the kind of prayers where people are like, how will I put it? They're like commanding the spirit. They're saying, this is not gonna happen. Every soul tie on my life is untied now. Everybody that steps up against me will fall. There is no odd that could be set up against me that I cannot overcome. That is spiritual warrior prayers. Boy, I was putting those down in the beginning. They were like, how is it not working? When I go home and I start lighting my candles, believe me, there was no way. Now, when you do these kinds of prayers, where you're breaking things off of you on an empty stomach, no food. I was praying and I hadn't eaten in like 24 hours, 48 hours, sometimes up to 3 days. It's like water, coffee, whatever, but like food. I was on a mission. I was serious. I was serious about it. So there's just something about the prayer that works better when you don't eat. I don't know what it is. And I was calling everything, every ancestor, every angel, everything. Like I was overdoing it to the point I remember recently a reader, she was reading the cards and she stopped to laugh and she started laughing. Now, these readers will laugh at your life when they're reading. And she was like, who did you call in? She was like, who did you call in? The way this backfired, how many energies did you call? Because this is crazy. This is so overboard the way that it happened. And that's the way you're approaching your life. Everything in prayer and spell work are the same thing, more or less. It's just you're praying to different energies with a different motivation in mind, but it's the same thing, more or less. you have to live on your knees. You got to pray in such a way that you are putting energy and motivation in the spirits. You're hyping them up. You're getting them going. You're giving them so much. You're letting them know that it is time to go to war. And as we go to war, I'm going to be here with you. And I'm going to continue being here with you to give you more energy to continue. You're supplying the energy. They're supplying the action. So as they do work, as they light stuff on their altar, as their candles are burning for 7 days, you see, once you start feeling spell work on you, you're praying a minimum of 7 days because that candle is burning for 7 days. You're going to break that down. You got to break that down. And you got to pray round the clock. The candle is burning round the clock. So you have to pray night and day. I'm talking to spirit so much, I could wake up in the middle of the night in prayer. I can wake up in the prayer. Let me tell you something. You know, this happened to me one time where I was crying so much. I fell asleep crying, woke up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning in crying. As I woke up, I was still crying. That's how much I was crying. So trust me, when you are focused on something and dedicated to something, you pray that much. I wake up praying. And you go to sleep and they're attacking you in the sleep. What do you mean? You got to get, you know, you don't want your nice ancestors to come. You want the crazy ones to come. You want the ones that want to pick a fight. They were looking for an excuse. They already didn't like that one. Now they need a reason. You want the ones that when you stop praying, they provoke you to pray because they want to go back and fight again. You want to call in the mercenaries. That's what you want. You're not calling in. These are not energies. I talk about mother all the time. There are different aspects to her. There are different versions. There's the mother who's sweet and loving. There's the one who unites lovers. And you know the black aspect, the hooded one? She's not here for, she's here for war. So when people are getting their karma, you said you had a problem and now she's fixing it. We don't need to hear nothing about you're going to get your hand taken off if you put your hand up to defend someone, cuz these are not these kind of energies that are negotiable. You put a prayer out there. So when you pray and you ask for protection, you're praying the spiritual warrior prayers. The angels that are going to come are not nice angels. They're not cherubims. They're not little babies. They're not friendly. The word angel makes people think it's a friendly energy, and it's not. These are hostile energies. So when you bring them down here, you better stand in battle and you better have the strength to continue giving them energy. And you are giving them the energy. You can feel it. You can feel the energetic pull because they need that energy. So I prayed so much, I was exhausted from praying. I was feeding an army on my prayers. This is how it works. Even when they do black magic, they're giving their energy to these entities. They're giving their body, their vessel to the entity. It's the same thing. Different spirits, different intentions, different heart, but the same mechanism, the same way it works. So don't think because you don't know how to cast a spell, because you don't know how to do this or that, that means that your prayers don't warrant as much. God is listening to every thought. God is listening to, how do you think God knows how to make you know that it's her? She hears everything. And when you're really tapped in, she'll respond back. She'll confirm things. She'll tell you no. She'll push you to do things. She'll encourage you. She'll give you peace. She'll just wash peace over you in dangerous situations. You don't even know, like, you're like, this is dangerous, but I feel so calm. What is going on? She'll give you her love as a blanket, wrap you in it, wrap your children in it. When you pray over your house, the house is, danger cannot come to the house. When the cars drive down the road, they flip the cars. I'm telling you, people were in accidents on my street non-stop for a little 2-lane road. non-stop until people didn't want to do this anymore. They will gang stalk you, but they don't want to make eye contact. They're forced to be there, but they don't want to be there. You must pray. Cast the protection over your home. Cast it over the street. Cast it over the places you work, everything. Put protection everywhere. Put bubbles of protection over yourself. Do not pray for people that are supposed to get karma. It will blow back in your life. It will blow back in your life. You pray for yourself. For me, I keep it so narrow. I can't pray for people because I don't know who's who anymore. But you have to. There are certain kinds of prayers. Then there's prayers that you're exhausted, you're tired, and you're just like throwing yourself at their feet and you're like, listen, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I don't know what to do. Help me. They love all prayers, but you gotta really know what prayer is for when. And it's no science to it. Use your common sense. When you're seeing things are getting heavy and they're getting crazy, you're like, okay, it's really time to pray now. It's time to go to war. When you see that you've been at war for a while and, you know, things are, you know, you're getting tired and maybe you're not seeing the results that you want, you're throwing yourself at their feet and you're saying, what can I do? Help me. Send me a sign. Tell me what to do. It will come. It will come. It will come. Your connection with the spirit world is not just to ask for material things. That is nonsense. It's a waste of time. You think they can't give you things? That is the easiest thing for them to do, is put you in the path of material things. That's not the lesson here. You want to learn. Ask them, how do I do this? How do I set this up? Who do I trust? Where should I go for this? When is the right time? Because in the middle of gang stalking, these are more important questions. You pray over your money, pray over your finances, pray over your mind, your sanity, and bind yourself to the spirit. You hear that from Christians in the Bible. Bind yourself to the spirit so nobody could bind themselves to you. Listen, I used to tell God, I'm like, listen, I want to fuse with you, okay? Like, never leave. And I used to tell her in the beginning, I'm like, if I don't feel you, I'm going to come find you wherever I need to. Because once you experience this energy, it's not just about the protection, it's the love, it's the connection. You don't want to be separate from this. Why would you ever want to live life without this connection? So you have to pray over everything. If you're using the computer and the computer is not working, pray over the computer. The computer will miraculously work. If you don't know if you should sign something, pray over it. I don't know if I should sign something, let me know. If you get up and you're not in a mood to sign it, then that's your answer. You might get up and every time you sit to sign it, you can't. Let me give you an example. Every time you sit to sign it, you just can't sign it. You keep dragging your feet. It means no. They keep pulling you. I'm going to give an example. Back in the day, I remember I was supposed to go to a party and I kept asking for the location and it was like I was in bed and I was just dragging my feet and I didn't want to go. And every time they were at the party, they kept calling me. They're like, you got to come, you got to come, you got to come. So I'd go to the door and I put my hand out to see if it's cold. Obviously, I'm making excuses because if I wanted to go, the clothes are laid out on the bed. Everything is there. I have no energy to go. I put my hand out and I'm like, oh, it's cold. I put my foot out, 10 minutes again, they're calling. Oh, I don't know. Then I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. Oh, but if I eat, excuses. Then I got upset because it was a day party and I think it was ending at like 7 or I can't remember what time it was going to end. But by the time I drove there, I wouldn't make it. And then I said, I hope it gets shot up because I can't come. And I was irritated and it's like my fault. Wouldn't you know it got shot up? So this is how my friend calls me. He's like, you're a witch. You're a witch. And I was like, what? What happened? He's like, you're a witch. And he kept freaking out. He's like, they shot up the party. This girl got shot. She got crippled. She got injured. She ended up in the hospital. It took her a long time to get rehabilitated. A couple people got injured at that party from the bullets. And he was like, it's a good thing you never came. And he was like telling me what was happening. I was like, that's why my body didn't want me to go. So I listened to my intuition. I don't care if my intuition, I'm looking in the camera and my intuition's like, you're purple. I'm like, you know what? As much as I see myself, I'm black, I'm purple. And people will be like, why? Why? Because my mind told me, and my mind does not lie to me. That's it. That's how simple it is. So when you're in this situation, that's how simple it is. Go worry about it at home later. You're not going to you're less likely to have bad things happening from not signing the contract. But when you're stuck in the contract, then they really have you where they want you. So you must listen to yourself first. I only ever get in problems in life when I do not listen to myself. When I trips my mind told me don't go on the trip, I went on the trip. Look what happened. Things my mind told me not to do, look what happened. So listen to your better judgment. Prayer, I had to spend so much time on it because prayer will get you through this. And this is an exchange with your spirit guides. Sometimes you invoke them. It's almost like you bind them to your will. It's kind of like, think about it like a marriage. A healthy marriage. There's some times where the wife puts her foot down and the husband knows, like, we're really gonna have to do this because she's serious. And there's sometimes the husband puts his foot down and the wife knows, like, we're really gonna have to do this. It's kind of like that. Sometimes you're telling the spirit, we are untying ourselves from this situation. You're not asking, you're not begging, you're not crying. You're saying, this is what will happen. And there are other times where you're going and you're saying, I need help. And then you're giving them the control and you're saying, I don't know what to do in this situation. So you got to take control of this. And you give it to them. There's some situations that you have to be strong, and other situations you have to be obedient. And it kind of goes back and forth. And with me, one thing I discipline myself to do is to be obedient when I have to be obedient, because they're going to ask you for some stuff and you're like, oh my goodness, but they know better. And it always works out perfectly. And you're realizing that when they told you to step, a bomb just went off behind you. Had you not stepped, you would have been taken out. Remember, you're on earth. You're human. You can get hurt. You have a body. There are rules. So you need to follow rules. You need to know. Like, if I didn't come on and start speaking online about my story as much as I didn't want to, I would still be heavily gang stalked. People wouldn't know. They'd probably be looking to end my life by now because it's taking so long and they're so desperate. And the man's crazy in real life. I'm not just saying he's crazy. He's really not okay. So prayer. I'm going to try to go quicker. 15, you have to ask yourself, if there were no gang stalkers, what would you do? So for me, I put this in the context of my business, that these people are always fighting me down to make money and all of this stuff. If there were no gang stalkers, what would I do? I'd keep going. If there were no gang stalkers, what would I do? I'd find another way. I'd figure it out. So you got to look at your life like this before you start complaining that it's always gang stalkers. You must say, if there were no gang stalkers here, what would I do? Would I just lay down and not make money? Of course not. I would keep going. I would keep figuring out what it is. I would keep finding a way. I would keep pushing forward. This is an important question to ask yourself. If this happened to me and I wasn't being gang stalked, how would I handle this situation? So put that into context and take it with you. 15, I think I skipped a number here. I skipped 16, but anyways, I'll fill something in when I put this down. 17, use them as motivation to be better than you started. And I did this all the time. These people were my motivation. It's like, I'm not giving in. I'm not giving up. I'm not letting them have my house. I'm not letting them have anything. I used to work in the beginning when I had to work, like out of the store, like I had to work from home and stuff. I used to work like I was spiting people. Oh, you think I'm not gonna work today? Oh, you think I'm gonna give up? Oh, if I keep working, higher likelihood that you're gonna get hurt, let me go and work double. Let me work and go better. Oh, wait, I didn't like the way, I'll re-scrap the whole project, do the whole thing again so it's nicer. Let me do it over again. Motivation. You gotta use these things to motivate you to go harder and do more. You don't let anybody take your life because they didn't give it to you. Who are they? Who are they? That's why I come here a lot of the times I'm so aggressive. Because who are they? They didn't give me life. The lady who gave me life can't even call me and say those kind of things. So who are they? I respond to the Most High and that's it. God only. God only. I don't respond to nonsense and I don't care how anybody feels about it. I don't care how many guns you have. None of the above. None of the above. And I've been like this from the time I was younger. I would prefer to die a slave than to live a slave. That's my mentality. I would prefer, if it boiled down to it, to die as a proud TI than to live as a hopeless, crying, dejected, targeted individual. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. So I don't come here ever to like cry and tell people about all the horrible things that have, yeah, horrible things have happened, but like, anyway, let's talk about getting out of here. Like, we could talk about the horrible things later on. Right now, how do we get out of here? Because I don't like it here. That's it. And I'm walking out. Even if I have to walk out in my mind only, then I'm walking out. That's it. And I'm leaving whoever's still here and whoever still wants to fight themselves and still follow me around and waste their money doing it. That's fine. I'm going to glow up in every way of my life because I'm moving on. And that's the mentality that you're supposed to have. Anything else is a waste of time and you're going to be succumb. Stop paying attention to these people and live like they're not there. Just ignore them and live like they're not there. Easier said than done, who cares? It takes a couple months, but it can be done because I did it. That's why I'm saying it. I did it. Sit with your old wounds because you have time now. They're going to dig your life. I mean, they're going to go all the way back to preschool. They want to know everything about you. So which means they're going to find those old wounds. Why can I sit here and I could talk about my relationship with my mother because I healed it? They can never leave any kind of comment that could trigger me or make me feel uncomfortable. I saw a comment on my page the other day about unwed pregnancy because I was a teen mom. I saw unwed pregnancy. What are you talking about? I'm glad I was a teen mom. Those kids kept me company. Those kids are my hope. Those kids are my motivation. They are my pride. Those kids are the ones that were packing up stores with me and putting and unpacking new stores. Thank God I had them. As a matter of fact, with my first daughter, I wasn't going to have her, and God pushed me to do that. Thank you, God. And thank you to the unwed pregnancy, because that wasn't really my husband. What do you think we are? You guys are crackhead gang stalkers. You can make me feel bad about an unwed pregnancy, and you're a gang stalker? Shut up. From what moral high horse are you talking about unwed pregnancy? And you have HIV from orgies. Huh? Shut up. Don't ever let these people make you feel uncomfortable about anything that's ever happened in your life. Stand proudly in everything that's ever happened to you. When you start unpacking their life, these are drug addicts. They're addicted to drugs. They can't function. They're running from the cartel. HIV spreading in my city like wildfire. It's like it's airborne in my city, to the point that people are putting posts on social media. This person slept with this person and found the medication in their cabinet, and now they're taking pictures of the yes, and posting it on social media. It's in the community. Nobody can tell you anything about your path in life. This is your walk. You walk it your way. Not the Pope, not a preacher. Somebody came in here talking about my nose. You think I don't see my nose? Look at my nose. Look at it better. You think I don't see my nose? I dealt with this from like elementary school. I'm so past that. I think I'm beautiful. I know I'm beautiful. God tells me I'm beautiful the way that I am. You cannot use anything against me at this point. I'm like bulletproof to all of this. I don't care. Somebody who used to be 500 pounds and now looks like a skeleton from stress and heroin and shooting up cannot tell me about my nose. I will take a bigger nose to not be you. How about that? You cannot let them have anything on you. You gotta heal all wounds, no shame. Somebody comes up to you and they say something about your life or your past. You're like, yeah, I did. And what? And what? You're out here gang stalking people. What did they give you to do this? A pack of chewing gum? You don't have something to do right now? These people, if they're at home with their husband or their wife and they're getting naked, about to get intimate, when they get that phone call, they have to get outside and go gang stalk you. You're not a slave. It's better to be gang stalked than to be a gang stalker. Because as a gang stalked, you decide what time you go to bed. You decide that you got to wipe your behind and you can't skip wiping your behind because you got to rush into the car and rush outside just to go see somebody stand and buy an ice cream cone on a Sunday. While they're enjoying the day walking around, you're on active duty being a dumbass. That's how I see it. I don't care. Whatever you've done, you did it. End of story. You did it, you learned from it, or you didn't learn from it, you healed from it, or you didn't heal from it. Who cares? That's between you and God. That is your path. These people are out here living lives that are dirty because they're carrying so much dirty entities on them. No one can tell you how to live your life. And no one can tell you what to be ashamed of, especially when you were a victim and you were doing your best. End of story. So this is what I mean by healing. Accept it, embrace it, and hug it and move on. The thing that is most obvious about you is the thing they're going to point out. When you talk about me, I stand up in the limelight. I stand firm. Yes, this is me. What next? What else are we going to talk about? You see, because if I start talking about you, you're going to run. You're going to run. I let him talk about me. He slandered me for 2 years. I didn't say anything. Now it's my time and he cannot take it because I know his real truth. I know that he's gay. I know that he bends over. I know he wants to be a señorita. So, you can't talk to me. You can't talk to me. You're in the cartel and you're gay. It looks like those two things don't go together. It looks like it makes you a little bit vulnerable. I don't care. This is your attitude, no matter how crazy it is. Because if you're, I see them do it to people. A little old lady who walks a certain way, they talk about how she walks. If she's fat, they talk about she's fat. The most obvious thing, so people will stand there and point and laugh. You're reaching for low-hanging fruit. It's so classless to do something like that. Now that somebody is bullying you, you know, I had another reader, high and mighty, fake, evil, jealous, envious in her heart and her soul, come on here and say, oh, it's not good to fight online because it makes when two people are fighting, you can't. Girl, shut up. Shut the hell up. I gotta injure this man publicly. I have to injure this man publicly. I must put him this small. I must show people who he really is. This is part of my job. If I wasn't supposed to be trolling him, I wouldn't be good at trolling. Why am I so naturally good at it? Because it's needed. He's a narcissist. So I got to give him what? Narcissistic injury. Undress him in the public square so people can know who he really is. They are gay. They spread HIV. They're no good people. They have no heart and no soul. They bribe people to destroy other people just so that they could go get overweight and eat too much. I said it and I don't feel sorry. It is the truth. Because the things they say about people, They are lies. They slander people with lies. So do yourself a favor when you're being gang stalked. Every single thing about you that you deem a deficiency, you hug it. You embrace it. You make peace with it. You hold hands with it. If you're overweight, then yes, I am overweight. And I can maybe work on it. I'll need 6 months to a year, but today I'm overweight. And that's it. You walk with confidence in whatever it is that you have. And you walk with pride, because this is who you are. You didn't kill anybody. You didn't hurt anyone. You're not a gang stalker. You're not a person who could go to someone's school and say, hey, aren't you a gang stalker? Weren't you following me around last year? Aren't you in the cartel? Weren't you following me around last year? So now they're like, yeah, that's your truth. So if we're going to tell the truth about everybody, let's tell the truth about everybody. Let's open it up for everybody to see. It might be petty to some people, but it is my job to address people who pretend to be good people and upstanding people in the community, but they are really demonic, satanic monsters. Heal your wounds. They will go in your past and they will dig up things about you that they know to use against you, to embarrass you, to turn people away from you. And it will take somebody with a lot of common sense and compassion to look past that and say, so what? And not everybody has that. So for yourself, don't wait for other people to say, so what if she's fat? So what if he did this? So what if this happened to him? Don't wait for that. You feel it for yourself and let it slide off of you. Let it slide off of you and walk away with your dignity. Because let me tell you, in a situation like that, somebody points out something about you and you're confident about it and you say, so what? They respect the hell out of you, because you just empowered people to embrace their own insecurities as well. That's all you can do. That's how you conquer that situation and you get over it. You need no shame. And that's a big one, because they continue to try to dig in my past for something to embarrass me about. They continue, and that's where they started making lies. Because I'm not a person who involves myself with people or hurts people or whatever. They just had to start lying. So that's a big one. I talked about this one already. Train your intuition. Your intuition is your best friend. It's all you have. You cannot trust people. They will try to lead you astray. Use your gut. Like I said, if you don't want to sign a contract, don't sign it. If your body's being lazy, it's your spirit stopping you. If you signed it and you never took it in, it's your spirit stopping you. Agree with it, shred it, rip it, burn it, throw it away, and move on. Trust your intuition. Trust your feelings, how you feel about things. The voice of your intuition, the voice of God cannot be duplicated. Pay attention. They cannot. They are in a low vibration of fear and hatred. They cannot feel like love. They don't have the love in them to give. They cannot feel it. So trust your intuition. It's all you have. And sometimes every single step you take is going to be, I've been through it for months. Every step I took had to be the intuition. I did not know what was going on. I couldn't trust anybody. Everything was scary. They will use every friend you've ever had, everybody you've ever known. You got to divorce your city. You got to divorce everybody. They will use children. They will use animal. They will use whatever they can use to hold on to you. And you must walk into your future. And if you don't make the decision, Spirit's going to make it for you. So you trust me, you want to make it for yourself. You want to voluntarily make it for yourself. And the last one I have here, be your own best friend, but I'm going to change that to God. Make God your best friend. Because this is not, just because you cannot see this energy does not mean it is not real. It is very, very, very real. God is here with you through this storm. If God wasn't here with you, you wouldn't even be alive to tell the tale. God put people in position for you. You know, there were times that I could tell prayers were coming for me and I didn't know who was praying for me, but I knew that there was a prayer that was just said for me. I felt it. I'm telling you, things in this, it's a spiritual journey if you allow it to be. trust it, believe in things, open your mind to concepts that, first of all. So that's the last 120. I'm just gonna say this last thing before I end the video. I don't want it to go too long. There are things in this spiritual community that people say that I'm just like, I believe in spirit, but my God, this one is a little crazy. It happens all the time. You sit and you hear someone tell a story and you're like, you people are crazy. I don't know about that one. And then you have to stop yourself and think about your experiences and you're like, okay, maybe, you know. So for me, I keep an open mind to everything now. I cannot just, like before I used to be like, what are people talking about? If I heard myself before, I'd be like, this person is, I don't know. I maybe I believe the gang stalking, but I don't know about the other stuff. But when God's ready for you, God is ready for you. People can talk like that because God's not ready for them. And that's it. You stand firm in your beliefs. They are your beliefs. People believe somebody died on the cross and rose in 3 days. People are telling their children about Santa and the Easter Bunny. So you have every right to believe what you believe in. The truth is the truth, and you know it to be the truth. So that's that on that. You believe in what you believe in, and you keep going with your beliefs. And no one can persecute you for what you believe in, not in this day and age. They can't tell you what you believe is ridiculous. They can't. They will try. They will try because what you're believing in is true. The prayers are working. The spell work is not working. The curses are broken over your life. And they're mad about that. They don't want that to be true. And this spiritual community is not like Christianity. It's not like the Christian world. In the Christian world, you have friends. In the spiritual world, you don't have any friends. These people are lunatics. Listen, and this is another thing. God forgive me. These people here are crazy. They're not okay. What on earth would make someone want to bind another person to them? What insecurity, what craziness would make somebody do? Wouldn't you want to continue in the world like you meet Bob? Bob, you like Bob, but Bob has one hand. But because you've only met Bob, you think Bob's the greatest thing. Maybe you could go and meet Peter, and Peter might have two hands. And maybe two brain cells too. Why would you want to fuse somebody to you like this? The world is so big. There's so many experiences. Like, what is wrong with them? If somebody does not want to do something, get somebody else who wants to do it. Especially for this cartel thing, they don't want people who are in the streets. They don't want people who look the part. Where if they went to the airport, the police or the TSA or the officers would be like, this person looks like a drug dealer. Let's pull them and open their bag. They want people like me. They want normal looking people. They want people who have a business or some excuse that they can be flying back and forth frequently. They have a good income. They have this and that. But they don't really want to build you. With all the money they're making, they don't want to say, we're going to give you $200,000. You know, we're going to give you a good income. We're going to give you, you know, we're making so much money. Let's give you 150 a month. And you travel. And we give you a good life where it's enough to have a great life. We let you choose who you want to be with. They have soldiers and they want them to starve. They want them to have no love. Why? Because they're insecure that if they have love, these guys are going to start thinking straight and they're going to leave. You know the real reason they don't want people to have love? Because when you have true love, it breaks the soul binding. And that's the real tea. When you get real love, it breaks the soul binding, blows it back, and then the real bullshit starts happening in their life. That's what they're afraid of. That's why they would prefer to kill people than let people reunite. They're terrified. I've always said, do not be afraid of people who are afraid of you. You hold more power than you know. They just don't want you to know how much power you have. You think people are not trying to disable my engagement and do all of this stuff for no reason? That's the truth. Because you did something illegal in the spirit when the real people, you cloaked it. Look, I talked about it. They cloaked in the energy of these people, walking around like two fakes in the energy of these people, separated them. And their goal is to keep them apart forever by any means necessary. If these two people come back together, the universe says, wait a minute. Wait a minute here. If these are the real two people, then who the F are these people here? In the spirit world, energetically, who are these? Judgment. That is how it works. Blowback. And that's nothing small. To steal a spiritual contract is nothing small. This is the reason why when people get new love and they get women in the cartel, they get women that they fall in love with or men that they fall in love with, even if there's a child involved, they shoo them away forever, for life, because they cannot afford for the binding to break. Listen to what I just said. Listen to what I just said. That's it. It's like a fairy tale. True love breaks the spell. That's it. So this is how they've been getting away with it forever. These are fucking cowards. You can hide behind a gun all you want. You can hide behind a bad temper all you want. But when people are empowered, they know who they are. They know what they're talking about. And they're empowered in the spirit. They don't give a shit about. Let me explain something about spirituality to you. The people who do spell work on you already knows that there's life after death. They're working with things that don't have a body. They already know how all of this works. These people know that it's over for them when they die. They're trying to extend this as much as possible. It's like people who can't sleep at night. When you do spell work, you lose a lot of things. You can't sleep at night. You don't have peace. You always have anxiety. So they try to project all of that onto other people. Take that person's peace and give the person their anxiety. Give the person their depression. It's like going to sleep at night being terrified to die because you know the energies that you're working with, you got to pay them back. It's scary stuff. You're in too deep. You've locked yourself in nonsense. The most you can do right now is steal from this one to pay this one back, because you don't actually have love in your heart. You don't actually have light. You have nothing of value. So these are the things you have to resort to. It is a terrifying way to live. You don't know. These people already know if they hurt certain people, that nothing good is going to happen to them. The signs are already with them. I have a tarot card that says that. The signs are already with you. The signs have been with them for a while. That when they touch certain people, everything goes away. The money goes away, which means the influence goes away, which means the power goes away, which means no money to buy bullets, no money for airfare, no money for serial killers, no money for bribes. You're just a beggar now. You're nothing now. God has to humble people so that they understand you can be touched. And as a matter of fact, you're spiritually in debt. You've been running. We need that money right now. You're in debt to the universe. It doesn't matter what they do. They're not getting out of this one. With me, they're not getting out of this one. It's here. And they know it. Karma is here. She is here. And she doesn't want to hear anything. They had time to stop. They had time to figure something out. They could have saved themselves and continued down the path of destruction, because that's what they would have done. They wouldn't have learned. But that ego, the little bit of money people have that they think it's money, that little bit of money makes people feel they could fight God. Let me tell you, they were doing some stuff that was pretty impressive, I'll tell you. They could like influence the weather and stuff. Like there were certain things that they were doing where I was like, wow, this is nice. I would love to learn how to do something like that. Very nice. They were doing things, but it still doesn't impress me because you're not God. All of those things will be taken back when God is ready. And when you go bind yourself in a divine contract with God, that means now what? God is in control. God dictates those contracts. It is done. You want to bind people to you? Now God binded you to mother. Now what do when you're binded to God? Don't worry about the how in these situations. Pray and put the prayers up there and tell God how this situation should work. And in my case, I said everything that they've done to other people, I want them to experience themselves. Because this is revenge for hire. Forget that. This is torture for hire. Torture for hire. If they wanted to kill you, they would kill you. They want to make money off of destroying everything you have and torturing you. Everything that they devise to do to people. You think you as a loving person can think of something bad to do to people that worse than these people who've been doing it for years? Everything that they've done to others, even if they didn't get to do it to me, this is what I want them to experience. So this is why they're still alive. Anyway, let's do the card of the day. This is Citron. It's the crystal for abundance and prosperity. It is a beautiful crystal. The vibration is extremely high, and it's a crystal for good fortune. Citron promotes generosity of spirit and the accumulation of wealth. It encourages gratitude for the small gifts in life and motivates you to freely share your abundance and expand your heart. Excellent for counteracting depression, this crystal instills optimism and a positive attitude. It overcomes apathy. Apathy is when you feel nothing, when you feel empty, when you just don't care. That's the opposite of love. The opposite of love is not hate, it's feeling nothing. It overcomes apathy and hopelessness and raises self-esteem. It makes you less sensitive to criticism so that you respond constructively. Citron capitalizes on your skills and talents, stimulating your mind. This stone of creativity facilitates seeing new possibilities and actualizing them. On the body, it assists with digestive, hormonal, and immune systems, kidneys, blood, thymus glands, and thyroid. And in the spirit, it protects the aura, cleanses the chakras, and brings joy to the soul. Citron. A lot of the times, the crystals that I end up pulling have a little bit to do with the messages that I've given. And since we're already here, I'm gonna do a spirit card, a spirit message card. One of them is already turned. Oh, no, it's not. I'm gonna do a spirit message card and see what the word of encouragement is for the day, because sometimes my lives are a bit tough. Only because, okay, well, let's see what this one. Self-awareness is key. Take time today to go within and spend time with your soul. Go for a walk in nature and ground yourself. Meditate, listen to your favorite music. Whatever you enjoy most, do that today. Little luxuries, self-care, taking care of yourself, having a positive life experience. Nothing is running from you. If you take a couple hours out or 2 hours out to take a walk, you're not gonna go bankrupt because of 2 hours. You gotta just really take care of yourself, because it will deteriorate you. Physically, you're gonna look like hell. Mentally, you're worrying too much, and it's gonna take a toll, and you're gonna start feeling it. I've been there. That's why I can say it. When I looked at myself and I'm like, wait, what am I doing? You gotta take care of it's not about anybody else. It's about you protecting yourself so you can live long. So when you get past this, you don't want to have these age lines that are so deep you can't get rid of them, and like, you know, your teeth are jacked up because, you know, you didn't take care of it for a year, and all this stuff. Some of this stuff is irreversible. You just got to take care of yourself as much as you humanly can. That is my message for today. Thank you for anybody who watched. Please check the channel homepage, where you will see the playlist healing, tools for healing, which is my very highly recommended videos for meditation, things you can do to cleanse your space, tools like videos like this that give you practical resources, practical information on how to get through this nightmare. This is a nightmare, but it doesn't have to be. We can turn it from a nightmare, not to a sweet dream right away, but something that's bearable to tolerable, to this is just my life, to guess what, I'm moving on and I'm flying out of this. And hopefully you transform yourself and you become the best version of yourself. So that is all I have. Thank you and have a great day.